if being who you are could get you what you want, you'd already have it. So you either have to change who you are to get what you want, or change what you want. And unfortunately, most people change what they want rather than going to work on who they are. See, we have literally been conditioned to an illogical, wrong conclusion. I'll prove it to you guys. How do you spell the word spot? S-P-O-T. Some of you didn't say anything, and I hope you just didn't hear the question. Not a function of not knowing. How do you spell spot? S-P-O-T. One more time. How do you spell spot? S-P-O-T. When you get to a red light, what do? Stop. Okay. Now, that being said, I messed that up again. When you get to I was supposed to ask you when you get to a green light, when I was I looked right at green in the back row with Rachel Lincoln. I was like, can't be green. But I would have got you. Nevertheless, I could have conditioned you in 5 seconds to say stop because you were thinking spot. And the reason that I'm bringing that to your attention is because how many people really couldn't wait to go to work and have somebody tell you what to do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 6 days a week, 5 days a week. I had a friend of mine who took a job as a pharmaceutical salesperson. His monthly bills were $7,000 a month, and it was $6,000 a month, and he took a job that paid him $4,000 a month. Now, someone just said, what? There's a whole lot of folks getting paid less than what they need in order to take care of their monthly expenses. So I want you to understand something, that we will do whatever it is that we have been conditioned to do. Go to school, study hard, and come out and find a good what? Job. Because that's what the tribal mantra says. What will other people think? Regardless if it's going to pay all of your bills or not. So ACN gives you an opportunity to where you can write your own ticket and make as much money as you want, but you have to develop the characteristics needed for success. Number one, you need desire. And I want you to know something, ladies and gentlemen. This is a new endeavor. You are going to become a business owner. You're going to produce results that you haven't produced before, so you're going to have to be something that you haven't been before. Now, that being said, my mentor taught me we will never get fired up and go above and beyond the call of duty simply to pay our bills. We need something more than just paying our bills in order for us to produce the results that we're looking for. So you're going to need desire, and I'm talking about white-hot desire. I shared a story with you all last week that there was a gentleman in front of a urinal, and he was using the bathroom. If we could stop that, Rachel. He was using the restroom, and he had a $5 bill fall into the urinal, and he reached in his pocket, grabbed a $50 bill, and threw it in the urinal. And the guy standing next to him said, "What are you doing?" He said, "If I'm going in there, I'm going to make it work." Can we agree? If you're going to go in and make this happen, you need to make it work. Secondly, you need a strong work ethic, and we've demonstrated a strong work ethic for other people. I was talking to a young lady the other day. Actually, she's here today. And when I was talking to her, I asked Christy, I said, "What time do you leave work in the morning?" She told me that she leaves work at 8:30. "What time do you return home?" She said, "Roughly about 5." I said, "So you got 10 hours a day invested in another person's business, in the company that you work for?" She said, "Yes, because we won't think twice about all the time that we have to invest working a job." So I'm telling you, you're going to have to demonstrate a strong work ethic here, but the challenge is this: you won't have a boss. No one's going to be standing over your shoulder micromanaging you. And look, you'll be the greatest boss you've ever had. Won't force you to work if you don't want to work. You can talk crazy to yourself. Thirdly, you need to be committed. Here's the best definition of commitment I've ever received: doing what you said you would do after the feeling that you have said it in is gone. Any married couples in the room? Or, I mean, even if you're not proud of it. Or someone with a significant other, fiance. So for you all who are married, you have a significant other, would you agree that there are times where you're not always smiling and kissing?
Yes.
You made a commitment at the altar, and you have to be willing to follow through on that even when you don't feel like it. Now, here's the challenge in our lives. Some people feel like, okay, I made a commitment to work out, so I'm going to work out. I made a commitment to my marriage, so I'm going to, be committed to my significant other. Some people are going to say, I made a commitment to my kids, so I'm going to keep that commitment, but I don't have to keep my commitment in business. Let me tell you something. The way you do anything should be the way you do everything. And you're going to have to be committed if you're going to be successful in ACN. You also have to have a positive attitude. Now, we are in the people business. We offer utility and telecom services, but we are in the people business, and you are either going to attract or repel. So you are going to have to become great at, communicating or expressing a positive attitude. My mentor taught me there are some people who are so negative, they'll walk down the hall and piss everybody off without saying a word. And that can be you. You all ever went to work and your supervisor got a bad attitude and you go, I don't know what's up with them. But you want to get away from them, yes? Am I telling the truth? So I'm going to train you guys right now on what you have to do to develop the positive attitude in order to be majorly successful. I want everybody to repeat after me. Some of you can't even show your teeth. Someone's done a number on you. It's hard. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Just a few more muscles. I'm telling you, you're going to have to think differently. Has anyone ever heard the phrase, it sounds too good to be true? Have you ever said that? Yes. I want you all to think about that statement. Too good to be true. Somebody has really done a number on you. They've convinced you your truth can't be all that good. And what's crazy is some Christian folks, I hear them say it all the time.
Look out now.
You've been enrolled in the idea of resurrection. But too good to be true. You got to develop the right attitude if you're going to master success in this business. Now, you need to be enthusiastic and urgent as well. Why? Because the last four letters of enthusiasm are IASM. I am sold myself. And you got to be urgent. Because there's somebody outside that room right now. My wife just introduced a couple to the business, Rayshawn Stover and Jasmine Stover. We did a presentation for a gentleman who's been successful in our industry for many, many years last week. I was just outside in the hallway. He is outside he's here in the hotel with another group right now. So that gentleman, for all intents and purposes, is going to move forward with this opportunity. Let's say we hadn't presented to him last week, and somebody in this room had bumped into him, and he got involved in the business. Rayshawn would be ready to fight back there right now, I'm telling you, because he would miss somebody who could potentially bring hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars into the building, because Mr. Smith said up here, people aren't getting involved because of you. They're getting involved for themselves. You run into the right person, you can't stop them from helping you become successful. And then you have to be coachable. What is coachability? I'm going to give you the definition of coachability. Some of you haven't been taking notes. I mean, you're here for the purpose of training. We're going to make a difference in somebody's life anyway. Might as well be yours if you're here. Unless you just feel like you got it mastered already. But trust me, you'd already have millions of dollars of billing coming in if that was the case. Here's the definition of coachability. It's the opposite of being hard-headed. There's a motto in place already. So don't analyze, don't evaluate, don't interpret. What you want to do, ladies and gentlemen, is just be coachable. We can actually create another row. Just be coachable, ladies and gentlemen, because somebody has gone before you in order to help you become successful. Listen, here's the benefit of you having a mentor in ACN. A mentor is your shortcut to success. A mentor is a shortcut to your future. And somebody who does something with a coach will always outperform the person that does not have a coach. It took LeBron James to get under Pat Riley's mentorship before he won his championship. So, look, you have talents and abilities. We understand that. Realize that if you're willing to be coachable, where you don't analyze, evaluate, or interpret, you just do the things that we suggest that you do, you're going to have massive success in our business. Now, that being said, here's what most people find themselves doing. This is the typical corporate structure. President, vice president, regional managers, district managers, branch manager, plant, project, store managers, and then there's you. Now, the reason that most people don't question this is because that's what everyone has done. It's what your grandparents did, what your mom did. It reminds me of a story. There was a little girl watching her mother cook Christmas dinner. And she cut the edges of the ham off, put the ham in the pan, put it in the oven. She says, Mom, why do you cut the edges of the ham off? She said, you know what, honey, I don't know. Go ask your grandmother. She's in the living room. She goes to ask her grandmother, Grandma, why do you cut the edges of the ham off? She says, you know, I don't know. When I was a little girl, it's what your great-grandmother did. She's upstairs taking a nap. Why don't you go and ask her? She went upstairs and asked her great-grandmother, Great-grandma, why'd you cut the edges of the ham off for Christmas dinner? She says, well, honey, when your grandmother was growing up, it was during the Depression, and we didn't have a pan that was big enough, so we had to cut the edges. They've been throwing away good meat for generations and didn't even know why. You've been wasting your time for years. Don't know why. And it's just because it's what happened before you. Now, that being said, people don't question our industry. See, when people think, when you approach someone about our industry, typically they ask you, is it this structure? They say, is it a what? Pyramid. But they don't question the corporate pyramid because they're at the bottom.
Right.
Here at ACN, you start at the top. You start at the top of an industry that did $167 billion in annual revenues. So, look, would you agree that people consider professional sports, the music industry, the gaming industry, the movie industry, and the organic products industry legitimate industries? Yeah. None of them compared to what it is that we're doing. And Bill Gates said this, if I would be given a chance to start all over again, I would choose what?
Network marketing.
Your stock goes up by aligning yourself with this organization, by positioning yourself in the industry. Now, please jot this down. What I do with my time will determine my success. You will not have to sell anyone in this business. We are sorters. You are going to sort through the people you know to identify the people that you should be working with. And while you're jotting that one down, jot this down. You cannot sell an opportunity. Someone must see an opportunity. So that takes all the pressure off of you, ladies and gentlemen, to have to sell or convince anyone of anything. Now, we liken people to apples. You have red, green, and rotten apples. If you had a red apple and you thought it was sweet, juicy, and crunchy, what would you want to do with that apple? Let's say you have one that wasn't ripe, but it wasn't rotten. What would you do with this? Let's say you had one that was brown, dented, soft, had worms in that apple. What would you do with it?
Throw it away.
You wouldn't look at that apple and say, you could be red again. You wouldn't bite into it? What would you do with the apple?
Throw it away.
You get rid of it. So you all understand the concept. You are not going to run into red, green, or rotten people. You're going to get red, green, and rotten apple responses. So once again, nothing wrong with your family and friends. They just may not see things the way that you see them. So a red apple response is a yes. The green apple response, ladies and gentlemen, is a people have questions. And a rotten apple response, people say no. So spend 80% of your time looking for and working with red apples. Spend 20% of your time with green apples. Some questions will be good, some questions won't be so good. As a matter of fact, Tanya and I were on a cruise, and the cruise director gave one of the 10 dumbest questions that he gets every year. And one of the questions was, is the toilet water in my stateroom fresh water or salt water? What difference does it make? You gonna cook with it? You will get ridiculous questions like that in ACN also. So don't spend a lot of time there. And how much time with rotten does that leave for rotten apples?
0.
Now the average person gets in and they invest time with rotten apples. And I didn't understand why until one of our co-founders, Mr. Tony Kupas, taught me why. He said, Corey, most people would rather be right than rich. So you're going to run into some people who are not open. You're going to share the business with some people who won't get in. And they fall in the category of a rotten apple. So that being said, you shouldn't invest time with them. However, either because you feel like because I'm in, they should do it, or because you saw an opportunity for yourself. It is now your life's mission to convince them that there's an opportunity here. But I'm telling you, he convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. You don't invest any time because you can't get that time back. You want to go find some people who see it the way that you see it, and you can get something done. Now, I'm going to prove to you guys right now that you have mastered this concept. It's simply a question of you'll do the things that we're suggesting that you do. Without saying a word, I want you all to tell me if I'm a red, green, or rotten apple.
Red. Green. Right.
Give yourselves a hand. You masters. You masters at sorting. Now, you just got to do it outside this room. Here's the second concept that you got to understand, that you must have long-term thinking. Are there ups and downs in life?
Yes.
There will be ups and downs in ACN. So you're going to leave here today, you're going to be jacked out of your mind excited because we're going to teach you how to get wealthy today. And so you're going to schedule a meeting. There are going to be 15 people that tell you they're coming to your meeting. This is what you're going to look like. The day of your meeting, 3 will show up, and that's what you'll look like. Of the 3 who get involved, one of those individuals tell you, look, you're going to get rich on me alone. You don't even need anybody else. I know everybody in the city. What you're going to find out is don't nobody know them. Another person's going to get started in the business and tell you, listen, I've been looking for something like this all of my life. Listen, God has spoken to me. I know for a fact that this is my destiny. We going to the top together. Next time you call that person, you're going to hear, do, do, do. This phone no longer works. It's called ups and downs. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Are there ups and downs in life?
Yes.
Has anybody in this room ever awakened one morning you didn't feel like going to work?
Yes.
But you went anyway?
Yeah.
Why'd you go if you didn't want to go?
Got babies.
You knew why. So what you have to do as you ride this emotional roller coaster, ladies and gentlemen, is keep the bar down. And the way you keep the bar down here is to understand why you must succeed in ACN. I told you that the challenge here is people aren't willing to be honest with themselves. They think they're doing okay, but when did okay become okay? It wasn't okay when you were a kid. You wanted to win. Because you're doing a little better than your friend, you think that you've arrived. But what happens if you're time deprived? You have no time whatsoever for your family, for your friends, for your faith. How successful are you? So what you got to do is get locked in on why you have to succeed. Right now, I want everybody to take 30 seconds, and this is going to enhance your life forever. Write down the #1 reason why you must succeed, and chances are it might hurt a little bit because of your willingness to finally look at who you really are and the fact that you aren't what other people consider you to be. How they look at you from the outside in. What's missing? Do you have some debt that you need to clear up? Do you need to get off the job that you've been working? Do you want to help your parents, your children, and you just can't? You're good at portraying, making things look good. But what happens when no one's watching? When you're laying down in bed at night and you know what's going on in your life and you don't have a solution for what is that thing? And it doesn't mean that you're homeless. It just means that you can't buy computers for these kids here in the inner city. You remember that. And ACN will be the vehicle to get you to where you desire to be.